That's it.
I think we're live.
We are live. And so, guys, we are here. It's Charlotte and Jessica.
You can call me Jess. I'm okay with that. New girl, Jessica. I'm okay with that.
No, you're not new anymore. You've been here for long enough to be called Jess.
Yeah,
so
I like Jess.
We know you. And we're here at Aragon Wine Market. We've got a broadcast tonight for our virtual wine tasting. Aragon's, we're just rocking along. We're taking special orders. We're doing curbside if necessary. You can always call us with a credit card and we'll run out. Whatever you feel comfortable with. We're still not going to do our regular wine tastings for the month of May. We've decided, and just kind of see how things go and rock along. And this is fun. This is fun. So we'll kind of see where we go in
adjustment to the new temporary normal for right now.
And actually, I think people have really seemed to enjoy it. So we're even going to take suggestions and try and figure out a way to maybe make this reality into our new normal, and see how we can. Hey, Carrie just said hi. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But how it works, if this is your first time tuning in, hi, is what we do is we announce the wine that we're going to drink, or wines as it were, and we tell you in advance. Hopefully you got your bottle. We sold out of the White Pinot Noir again. This time we are selling out of the wines. So if you like the wine, get it early. If you miss out on a wine, you can always get the wine later and re-watch one of these old broadcasts.
Absolutely. That's really something that was a great suggestion.
Yeah.
If you miss it because we've sold out, you certainly can tune in to last week's episode, and when you come by the shop, maybe pick up the wine for next week and grab the wine from last week if you haven't had the opportunity to try it. So it's definitely a great way to still go through the wines. That's the beautiful thing about the virtual tasting, is that it's recorded and captured for our enjoyment whenever.
So
yeah, absolutely.
So we and Carrie Shaw says she's done that.
Yeah.
So we're letting everybody else know. If you hadn't thought about it, that's a good plan.
Definitely.
The Summer in a Bottle was super popular, that was one that sold out twice and couldn't keep in stock. We have a few bottles in right now. I think. But it's also one that goes pretty quickly. And the Left Coast Cellars, the White Pinot Noir, we had plenty, and then it goes quickly. But this is what it looks like, and we've already started drinking a little of it. So
delicious. Before we segue into that, I don't want anyone to forget that this is Mother's Day weekend. So if you've not thought about your mamas or any other mamas in your life, your village of friend of mamas that you need to get a basket for, just know that we absolutely can do gift baskets. We have a delivery service that we can provide. Certainly there's a minimum order, but we're happy to take care of that for you so that you can take care of those people, your loved ones, your friends and family, the mamas in your life. Don't forget about those. Sunday will come before you know it.
It will. And I mean, this Mother's Day of all Mother's Days is, pretty important. I mean, a lot of mothers are kind of getting, ripped off a little. My mom actually fell this year, this same time last year, a year ago. And so she didn't get to have a Mother's Day. I told her she got a new hip for Mother's Day last year. So I'm going to do something special for her this year. We're going to bring in food and sit in the courtyard, and of course take some nice wine and let her partake in that. So.
And if this kind of current nature of anything has made us respect and appreciate our family time, I think it's really, it really has been an eye-opener for me to see how much I value these holiday experiences where I do get to, thankfully right now, be close to my family, and have those holidays together.
Well, that's true. And not to be a downer, but as you get older, you start to appreciate every holiday because you never know, So knock wood, we'll all be here same time next year, but savor each Christmas, savor each Mother's Day, and enjoy it with some good wine. And this is a great wine right here. We're hoping that Taylor from the CEO from Left Coast Cellars will join us shortly. I think he's having some technical difficulties, so it may just be the two of us talking about Left Coast Cellars.
Okay.
I know, so we're okay either way. But if and Carol says, tell Mom I miss her, and I certainly will, Carol, thanks. If it turns out to be the two of us up here, you guys are going to ask a lot of questions, and we may or may not know the answer. So
We might not.
But we will start off and tell you a little bit about Left Coast Cellars. It's another wine from Oregon, Willamette Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like I see Taylor in the queue. So hopefully
Yes.
we'll get him in the queue and on the broadcast in just a second.
Definitely.
But Left Coast Cellars is in Willamette Valley.
And you've been there, right?
I've been there.
Okay.
I had lunch there. They have a nice little cafe. And it's a super chill spot. These beautiful trees, which I want to ask Taylor about. I don't know what kind they are. They're like different from everywhere else in Willamette Valley. And it's just a really, really chill, cool, beautiful, beautiful property. It's family run, which is pretty neat. And I'm sure Taylor can tell us more about that. So I think I will try. I will tell you my just quick story is that the first time I ever tried the White Pinot Noir, which is so unique, was that I was pouring it at a wine festival here in Pensacola, and I declared it the most unique wine at the wine festival because nobody really had tried or seen a White Pinot Noir. That was a few years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and we've kept it in the store since then, and it's sold really well. It's got a great, almost cult following around here, so it's pretty neat. But I think I'm going to be able to put Taylor and let's see, add to stream. There you guys are. Can you see us?
Welcome.
Yeah. Hey,
Hey.
I'm
All the
Joe.
way from
Good to
Willamette,
meet you.
Oregon.
I didn't hear you. What?
Can you hear us okay?
Can you hear us?
I can now. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, it's welcome to our virtual wine tasting in Pensacola, Florida, and we're excited to hear all about. It looks like beautiful weather in Willamette.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous day.
What's the temperature there in Oregon now?
Yeah, today is supposed to hit like 80. Tomorrow's like 84, 85.
Right on. Zero humidity. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is really hot for us in May.
Are y'all busy, or are you semi-busy?
Very busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Busy.
Yeah. All right. Well, we appreciate you taking the time out to talk with us a little bit about Left Coast, and maybe if you can give us a little history, one of you guys give us a little history of the winery. I know it's family run and kind of smaller production.
Sure. So I'm Taylor Pfaff. I'm family ownership, and I'm the CEO. And this is Joe Wright. He's our winemaker and vineyard. What's your vineyard title?
Vineyard guy.
Vineyard guy.
Vineyard wine guy. Wine grower, winemaker.
Yeah, that's nice. What a job.
So we're here on the patio of the winery. We got a really nice view. Got some vineyards.
Yeah, that's an incredible view behind you. I saw that immediately. As soon as the camera came up, I was like, wow, look at that background. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, so we're obviously pretty excited to be outside. We typically don't get weather this nice in May. But yeah, that's enough about us ranting about the weather. So about Left Coast, my family started it in 2003. And we started out primarily focused on growing grapes. We figured we should get good at that part before we really dive into wine itself. Over the years, we started to get a better reputation for growing good quality grapes, and that's actually how we met Joe, was originally selling fruit to him. Around a similar time, we started to believe that we had a pretty good handle on growing grapes, and we've been expanding our vineyard acreage. So we always had our own wine brand, but around 2010, we really decided to kind of step it up and expand the winery and start putting more focus onto our own brand. So we've had kind of slow organic growth. We have 140 acres of vineyards. We do about 22,000 cases annually. And the big thing about Left Coast is not just the wine, obviously, but is kind of how we make it. So we do everything on our own estate, which is really important to us. That gives us full control of the viticultural process and all the decisions that go into grape growing and winemaking. We're really committed to that model, and we just believe it has a huge qualitative advantage in terms of what we're allowed to do. It also provides us a lot of flexibility in terms of the wines that we're making. The whole property is 490 acres. And so one of the big things that we have is sustainability. So we have solar power. We're also live certified in the vineyards and the winery. Live is a pretty cool certification process. All our bottles have it on them too. You can see the back label.
I see that. Yeah, explain that to us a little bit because we're always getting questions about those organic versus biodynamic versus sustainable. Like explain what that certification specifically means for your wine, if you don't mind.
Yeah, just in a nutshell, live, it's like being certified self-organic or biodynamics is a third-party certification that covers, I believe, Oregon, Washington, and Idaho, and basically it just takes a really holistic approach to accountability for the grounds we grow our grapes on, the watersheds we grow on top of, and then all the people that work to make it all happen. So again, that's pretty narrow. It's a pretty broad subject, but that sums it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's cool. Well, I don't know who to address this to. Maybe Joe. What made you decide to do a white Pinot Noir?
It was basically just the circumstances of the time. It was the vintage that dictated kind of what drove how much of what we made. And in 11, it was a very cool vintage. It was a late spring. It was a very less than moderately warm summer, and then it was cut short. And so we had quite a bit of not great red winemaking material. We had plenty, but not in bulk. So were we going to make rosé like every other winery in the Willamette Valley and love it, or were we going to try and diversify? And so quite frankly, sort of segueing, but in 11, that's when we diversified what we make with our Pinot Noir grapes, and our sparkling wine program started in 2011. Our rosé program boomed, and then of course our white Pinot Noir took off. Has ever since just taken on that life of its own.
So we don't have it, but since you mentioned it, the bubbles. I don't know that it's in the market, but it's Queen's Bee.
That's one of our sparkling wine bases. Yeah, so that is a sparkling wine base that I make primarily out of Pinot Noir, and the sugar used, the fermentable sugar that I use for the secondary fermentation, is estate honey that we grow here on the property.
Yeah, it's so cool. Unfortunately, I think I brought some back, and I think I drank the last bottle maybe last year. So yeah. I probably need some more.
We're working on it right now. The 19 vintage is going to be bottled Monday. So we've been working on it all this week, just preparing it for its big day.
Right on.
Well, and for people that that don't know how you make a white Pinot Noir, because people see Pinot Noir, they think it's red.
Absolutely.
Can you give a little technical background about how you make it white?
Yeah, well, like most vinifera, if you just omit the skins from fermentation, you're left with the white, potentially just an orange or white wine. So, just a lot of, I tend to, we farm all of these areas specifically for white Pinot Noir. They're maybe a little more production-oriented areas. Again, like Taylor mentioned, we have over 140 acres that we grow up from, and some areas a little more vigorous, some areas are potentially a little more shaded out or for cooler swales, and we pick that stuff out for white wine, and it makes gorgeous white wine. And it would have made average Pinot Noir, but fantastic white.
Well, and speaking of white, go ahead.
Just inherently, I guess, from where the origins come from, we have less anthocyanin or color pigment in the skins. We have thinner skins. Typically, in more production-oriented areas, we have bigger clusters, bigger berries. The juice to skin ratio is greater, so we have less concentration and less to extract from. And so, all these things make it white. We also pick early in the morning. We bring in super cold fruit, and we press and separate the skins from everything else. As soon, we don't go home until that's done, and what you're left with is a juice that's kind of peachy or salmony in color, but quite frankly, when after primary fermentation, and which metabolizes a lot of color, after a light filtration, and after just a little bit of time, ultimately it turns out just beautiful pale yellow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Explain to me the thought process behind the kind of 100% stainless steel fermentation. I know that you guys do that throughout everything that you have. Kind of talk to that a little bit, and how does that affect this wine?
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess this wine doesn't spend a lot of time in the cellar. It doesn't. We're processing in October. We're fermenting through typically the end of maybe December, and bottling early spring, late winter. So it's and it really comes down to practicality. There's really nothing romantic about where it actually resides during that time frame.
Yeah.
It's a lot of wine we're producing for us, 8,000-9,000 cases a year, and to manage that any other way would just be really difficult. So, but what we get out of a stainless steel ferment is certainly just a lot of retained esters, very exuberant aromatics, nothing that shades just the pure fruit potential, like oak might or a cement vessel might or something of the sort. So it really is a really clean, transparent way to produce a wine that doesn't really, allow anything to be hidden. And again,
absolutely, of course, it makes the most sense. I just thought it was such a beautiful kind of note to highlight that when I think about just on a very elementary level, oak or any of those things inherently, that changes the dynamic of the wine. So I just wanted to talk to that for just a second. But so I think we're also going to talk about a Chardonnay.
I do want to ask you about the Chardonnay. We're not sampling it right now, but I've not sampled it before. Can you tell us about the Truffle Hill Chardonnay?
We'll drink with you.
Oh, awesome.
Are we tasting the same vintage? What have you got?
I have 18.
Yep, likewise.
Yeah. And this is my first experience with Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Have you done it for a while, or have you produced it for a while, or is it a fairly new project?
I started making the wine here in 2011, and we have ever since then. We've always made Chardonnay here.
06, I think.
06.
Oh, okay. I'm late to the party.
So we've got just about 11 acres of Chardonnay and a lot of different just clone material as well. So just different, mother material that came from different areas. This is a blend of mostly Dijon clones. They're just numbers, 76,
right.
96, 95. But they make really tight, small little grenade-sized, very tight small berry clusters, and there's just a lot of concentration in them. We like to say we grow our wine. We really keep a light hand in the winery more and more every year. The less is more attitude just keeps, coming on stronger and stronger. So basically backing up to kind of the, why I think it tastes the way it does is just the soil that it's grown on and the microclimate that it's grown underneath. The soils here are really cool. They're old marine sedimentary soils. Basically, they're formed from back, a few years back when the Pacific Ocean used to lap up against Idaho and Oregon was underneath an ocean. It's basically just all the sand and silt that found its way to the bottom of the ocean floor. The weight of the ocean floor compacted it down, and interladen is just diatomites and seashells, and our soils are very shallow. You can dig down as far as 6 inches and find seashells from our old marine situation.
Cool.
And it really, I think, lends to a minerality and an austerity. We get a lot of citrus, and even when it comes to like citrus aromas and flavors, we get.
You can see that. Is it dark enough?
Oh yeah,
that's our soil.
That's our soil. It's a photograph of like seashells in the soils.
That's cool. Yeah.
So they're very like citrus driven. Even like when I think of floral notes, I think of like orange blossom and stuff like that, and white like jasmine and very nectary type aromas. But yeah, and then as far as the microclimate, we're just west of a gap in the coastal range that is allows a lot of marine influence in as well. So why I'm here, why I love where we grow grapes is the soil's one, but two, that marine influence that we get off of the coast really slows ripening down overall in a really good year. In other words, one that spans a long length of time. We can get incredibly ripe flavors at low sugars, and so you can enjoy an entire bottle and not, like feel like you're drinking a whole bottle.
Yeah,
and you guys are actually pretty close to the coast, correct?
I was just going to ask that because I lived in Portland for like 8 months for a very short period of time for a contract, and thought that I was going to be so close to the coast, and I wasn't really. So Pacific Highway, Pacific Beach, how close are you to the actual coast? I mean,
37 miles as the crow flies, and it's about an hour to drive there.
Yeah.
But the coastal influence is huge. We get, on average, a temperature differential of 20 degrees day and night. And the hotter it gets, the bigger the temperature differential. So the biggest I've ever seen was 40. A couple years ago, I saw 50 one day.
Wow.
It was 108 degrees during the daytime, and I was up at of our property where you can oversee this gap in the coastal range. And it was 58 degrees that night.
That's crazy.
Wow, yeah, absolutely.
So the Chardonnay does have some oak on it, though, correct?
Yeah, it does. It sits in oak during primary and full secondary fermentation for about 7 to 8 months is all.
Yeah, lightly oaked.
Yeah. In fact, we even use very just large format 500-liter punch-ins, so you have even less surface area per volume. Does that make sense? So the bigger, traditionally a barrel is half that. It's 228 liters. That's pretty common throughout the wine industry. These are twice the size, so half the surface area. So we actually do use a fair amount of new oak, but it's lightly toasted and it's a larger format. And so you get that freshness, that sweetness, but it's not overbearing, over assertive, or too impactful that you can't let the fruit still shine through.
Do you think? Would you say it's kind of an old world Chardonnay? Made in the new world?
It's certainly the carrot that dangles in front of my face. That's what I like to drink. And as a result, backing up even into the vineyards, we keep picking this fruit even at lower and lower and lower bricks. So, we're picking on average of maybe, I'm fine with like 21 bricks, 11.5%, 12% alcohol, with just really low pHs and high acids. The goal is ultimately, I love drinking wines that are 5, 10, 15 years old, and they don't have to just be red. I think we can do this with our Chardonnay as well.
So how long would you think this could age?
The 18, easily 10 years.
That's awesome. Wow.
And we're getting better and better every year. So if you like that style of wine, then that's really where we're headed and aimed at.
I'm a fan of an aged white, and not everybody is, and not all whites age well. So, but I am a fan of an aged white. But how about we're going to put on deck next the Callie's Cuvée, which I guess this is your flagship.
Yeah. We make quite a bit of. Actually, the new flagship that is even becoming more and more the White Pinot Noir. Believe it
The
or
White
not.
Pinot. Well, tell me who's Callie.
So Callie's my sister.
Callie's Cuvée.
Yep. So all the women have wine named after them. So my mom.
Say it again.
All the women in my family have wines named after them.
As they should, good sir. As they should.
We know how to treat ladies right. So Callie's used to be the flagship. It definitely sees the most customers, and it's really all encompassing of the whole property. We're getting all of our different little unique microclimates that we have. It's a blend of all of those, and we really take a lot of pride in this wine because it's the one that really represents us out there. We kind of joke that if the Callie's isn't good, we wouldn't be anywhere at all. So
it's definitely not a joke because it's absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
So for our viewers right now, please come get a bottle. It's outstanding.
Yeah, we just got it in. We sold out of the White Pinot Noir very quickly, and actually had my Peachy rep drive over from Destin to bring us some more in stock. So we currently have it in stock, but we sold out pretty quickly in anticipation of this tasting. So, and let me ask you this: is she the illustrator of the blog that you guys have, or am I mistaken?
She's a landscape architect.
Oh, okay.
And then my dad is also like a fanatical gardener. So my family, we originally lived in Colorado, and my parents started the vineyard when we were teenagers. So he was so excited to be in Oregon because we have these amazing nurseries. So plants are relatively affordable, and when you plant them, they don't just die like they do in Colorado. So he went absolutely crazy just landscaping everything, 17 years ago. And then my sister's kind of on the scene now, and they have this really funny dynamic where like he goes overboard and she tries to rein him in. Joe usually gets left in the middle trying to clean up the pieces.
She could probably tell me what those gorgeous trees on your property are, because you have some trees that I haven't seen in that area very often, or if ever. Do you know what I'm referring to?
Yeah, so those are our oak trees, I think, that you're referring to. They're Quercus garryana is the Latin name. They're a very special oak tree in that they're extremely slow growing. So a mature oak tree is over 100 years old, and they can live as long as 500 years. So we have a lot of trees on our property that are kind of pre-colonial, and it's also the most threatened habitat in the entire Willamette Valley. 97% of its historic range no longer exists. So we're in a really special part of the valley where we have quite a few of these oak trees. And we didn't know how important they were kind of when we started out. My parents just thought they were really beautiful, so we didn't cut a bunch of them down. But they've really become part of the identity of the property for visitors. That's probably why you remember them so well. But we've started partnering with the U.S. Department of Fish and Wildlife and the Natural Resources Conservation Service to restore a bunch of our oak forests. So basically removing all these invasive species, because they used to live in these big savannas where there'd be a few giant oak trees and just tall flowering grasses. So we've got about 100 acres of the property under restoration. So that's kind of one of the dreams of Left Coast, is that, we make wonderful wines, but we also have half of the property kind of as a natural preserve, and it does a lot for the biodiversity, and it goes in line with.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I lost a little bit of what you were saying. We had a little bit, I couldn't hear some of it, but I know that for us in our area, we're part of the navel live oaks. Oak trees in our community, in our region, the Panhandle, are huge, and we certainly have those beautiful trees that are hundreds and hundreds of years old that really define streets and areas. And so, and I know we've spoken to this the last couple of weeks as far as sustainability. It's really, I think, incredible for us to have wines from vineyards and from winemakers that care so much about the sustainability of the environment, and that you're doing that turnover of having areas where you're regenerating and certainly putting back into the earth what you're taking out. And that's something we've really, I think, talked about a couple of times. Yeah. And so I think that's cool, just because the connection for us being that we just had a huge wildfire go across our Tri-County area, and we lost 40 plus homes. Lots of people were affected, and all these beautiful, literally within 24 hours.
I mean, it's still burning right now.
It's still burning, so it's pretty beautiful to hear about that regeneration and the focus on making sure that those areas that are not being produced from are being replenished, I guess. I think that's something that's near and dear to us, especially right now.
Yeah, for sure. It's good to hear. So tell us about Callie's. We
I love
Callie's. And
it's very smooth.
Yeah. I think for you guys, you two and your viewers, I think that if you just really want to taste what the vintage provided us here on the estate at Left Coast Cellars, the Callie's Cuvée is just the perfect wine to drink and get to know us. Like Taylor touched on earlier, it's a blend of everything that we grow on our 490 acre estate. It's a blend of different clonal and rootstock variations. It's a blend of different row orientations and elevations and soil depths and so really again what you're tasting is our little 490 acres and in this case the 2017 vintage.
Yes,
that's what we're trying. That's what we have in the store. It's so amazing.
Yeah. And oak on it as well.
Oh, as far as winemaking goes, yeah. All of our Callie's, all of our Pinot Noir is aged in French oak. We turn the room over about every 5 years, so we're purchasing about 20% of new oak every year. This blend might see 15 to 20% new oak. So, but yeah, the important things are that it's all French. I believe truly. I mean, these folks have been farming barrels for wine for centuries. They know how to do it, and I haven't found a replacement anywhere else. Not for Pinot Noir anyway. And like the Chardonnay, 7 to 8 months in oak, and then released, the following year.
Yeah, how many Pinots do you make on the property?
Pardon me?
How many different Pinots? This is the Cuvée. You do some estate Pinots and.
Yeah, so there's the Callie's Cuvée. There's 3 vineyard designates that are like very clonally driven. So we produce 100% Pommard blends that we call our right bank Pommard, and then a Dijon clone blend that's called our Latitude 45. Then also our Wädenswil is a Swiss clone of Pinot Noir that we bottle on its own, and it's called our Truffle Hill Wädenswil. And that aside, Taylor's wife Christina, another one of the Left Coast ladies, has bottling. We call her the Christina's block, and basically it's kind of a placeholder for. It's just such a big property with so much going on and not necessarily consistent. So what we try and do is just put something really cool from that vintage in that bottling every year.
That's cool.
And so Christina helps with that, of course, too. So
they love it. Well, Carrie, one of our wonderful customers, has said that she wants a wine named after her. I definitely do too. So I think that's a really great way to highlight the women in your family, especially going into Mother's Day.
Yes, exactly.
Her last name is actually Aragon too, my wife.
Hey.
That's right. I know. You mentioned that. I know. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Special connection there, right?
Absolutely. Kindred spirits.
There's one more. Am I missing anything else? But then there's one more, and it's not every vintage we produce it, but to Suzanne, Taylor's mother, we've produced a Suzanne's estate, and we'll if it it's a good year, we'll produce a Suzanne's estate rosé, Chardonnay, and a Pinot Noir. Oddly enough, it seems like in the last decade, it's always been the even years that we've kicked out a Suzanne's estate Pinot Noir, and on the odds, we haven't. But
So
this
the names
year,
are tied to some degree to the level of quality of the estate, with the matriarch being Suzanne. Is that what I'm following? I absolutely love that.
yes, yeah.
Okay, so for all the moms out there,
We're okay with
Left
that.
Coast Cellars is your vineyard because they definitely cater to the mamas. I love that. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, my mom and sister have this whole sales pitch where my sister's like, I'm like light and fun, and my mom's like, I'm reserved.
That's brilliant.
Awesome.
I think that's absolutely great.
That's funny. And you did mention a rosé, so so you are making a rosé?
Yeah, we do in our core brand lineup, like along with the Callies and the White Pinot Noir, we produce a rosé. It's not entirely made of Pinot Noir. It's just in the last 3 years I've just started blending. So it's all the Pinots, but I'm blending with Pinot Noir, Pinot Blanc, and Pinot Meunier, and that's what our rosés are made from.
Okay, selfishly, I want to know all about your bubblies. How many bubblies? What are you making? Tell me about the bubblies.
Just 3.
All about the bubbles.
I'm Senorita Bubblita, so.
Just 3. We touched on one already, the Queen Bee sparkling wine. That's again,
what we need.
Pinot Noir with honey used as a secondary fermentation sugar. And then traditionally, we're producing a Brut Rosé that's made entirely from Pinot Meunier, one of the 3 noble grapes in Champagne, and Blanc de Noir that's just Pinot Noir. It's a Badenville clone, and picked from an area just really well suited for that chemistry we need to make the wine.
That's awesome. I'm a big bubbly fan, so I will definitely
and they're
get
all
with that to see what's in the Florida market on those.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're all in more recent years, but anyway, they're all barrel fermented as well, and barely aged, but they do go through a full malolactic fermentation as well. And when I say barely aged, I just really like to capture that really young essence, and so we'll typically put these on tirage. Like we're doing it Monday, like I said earlier, all our sparkling wines are going on tirage Monday, so they get bottled fairly earlier, but they sit on tirage for the Brut Rosé 3 to 4 years, and the Blanc de Noir has been 4 to 5 years before we disgorge and release.
Cool. Well, I can't wait to try some of those. If I can get them here in Florida, and I will definitely have to ask if I can get that Queen Bee, because I need to replace my bottles that I drank. And just so people know, because I can't explain it probably better than you can, they almost have like little balls of honey in the bottom of the Queen Bee.
Yeah, it's just encapsulated yeast. It's just another way of getting that secondary fermentation to take place. So traditionally, we add a yeast slurry to the bottle, and then that's where the base wine lies on those lees after that fermentation for 3 to 4 years. The encapsulated yeast, am I in the picture? The encapsulated.
That's okay. We were so ingrained in what you were saying. We were still following.
The encapsulated yeast actually is yeast encapsulated in a tiny little membrane that captures all the byproducts. So you get a fermentation, you get a little bit of alcohol, you get a lot of CO2, that's what our bubbles come from. And all the byproduct that would make that bottle cloudy actually gets held within that membrane. So you can you can just put the honey in the base wine, put the encapsulated yeast in the bottle, seal it up, wait 2 months, it ferments, it's super sparkly and clear still, and you can release it without disgorging.
Well, thank you for explaining it. All I knew is like these cute little bubble bottles in the bottom of the bottle, and I loved it. And I'll definitely check to see. So one of our people, Carrie, is asking if we can get the Queen Bee, and I'll definitely check on that, Carrie, to see if we can get it in Florida. Probably not, right, guys?
That's this guy. Yeah.
Meh.
We'll check. We'll check.
We'll check.
We've taken up a lot of your time,
Yes.
and we
Thank
so
you
appreciate
so much.
you guys coming and telling us all about Left Coast and you guys personally and the wines.
Absolutely. And
so-
cheers to your mom.
Yes, happy Mother's Day to Sam.
That's right. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
All
guys.
right, take care.
Yeah,
Bye.
thanks for having
Bye.
us.
I think I'm doing it.
Oh, that was so cool.
That was great. Yeah.
So that was really neat. I didn't know that Joe, the winemaker, was going to be joining us, so I would have definitely put that out there. I just thought not. Just
I would have done my homework a little more.
Taylor is cool. He's the
Very
CEO
cool.
and resident cool cat at Left Coast Cellars. But that was really pretty neat and very informative. We do have some of the Left Coast Cellars, White Pinot Noir,
Yes.
Chardonnay, and the Cali's Cuvée in stock right now. I'm definitely going to check to see if we can get any of the bubbly, because
That sounds amazing.
yeah, because first of all, I'm a bubbly fan, and I have had that Queen Bee, and it's so
That
neat to
sounds
look
so
at. It's just cool. I've never had any kind of wine that the little bubbles in the bottom that just kind of stay up. But anyway, very cool. So, guys, we're
Thank
gonna
you so
talk-
much. Yeah,
We're going to talk about what's on deck for next week. We have these both in stock and have plenty of them. Henri Bourgeois. This is their Sancerre, and then this is their Petit Bourgeois. So Henri Bourgeois is out of France, the Sancerre area. Petit Bourgeois is pretty much a declassified Sancerre. Sancerre has to be from the area.
Thank you for clarifying, because I didn't know what the difference was.
Yeah, well, it's less expensive because it doesn't have the Sancerre name on the label, but it's literally, you can see Sancerre. You could probably spit to Sancerre from this area. And so Henri Bourgeois, they're good friends of mine. Arnaud and Ziggy are the family-run business, and Henri was Arnaud's grandfather.
Oh, wow.
He's passed away, but the brothers still take on the winery, and Ziggy works at the tasting room, and it's just a cool family-owned place in Sancerre. So we'll have Laurent, who is from France, lives in, he's their rep in the United States, so he lives in Atlanta, so he'll be joining us next week to talk about the wines. We do have plenty in stock right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
Get it while it's
But
fast. We will reorder.
I do think that these will be easier to get in. We've got plenty in stock right now. We can also order Monday for Wednesday deliveries, so we should have plenty of these. They're both delicious, and they're both Sauvignon Blancs. So you may be thinking, why do I need to get both? They're Sauvignon Blancs. They're so different. This one's a nice, light, easy, more what you're familiar with. The Sancerre bumps it up a level and is a little more deep, rich, Sancerre.
Yes.
My advice to you is if you're going to try these with us, which I hope you do, grab some goat cheese. What goes together. And so Sancerre is known for Sauvignon Blanc and goat cheese. So I would definitely grab you some goat cheese to sample with, and
I would always have cheese. I mean, I love cheese.
Yeah.
So cheese is great.
Yeah, and that Cali's Cuvée, like those would have gone with some of that Rapinauer, the aged Gouda. We got some Rapinauer Gouda here that would have been nice.
Yeah, we had a great phone call yesterday. Do you have any cheese? Do you have any salami? Do you have any crackers? We absolutely do. And to make a little basket for you. Their friends had just bought a house, and it was a wonderful opportunity for them to stop by, grab a bottle of wine, a few little, noshas to get them through the evening to celebrate in their quarantined life. And
again, we'll do a little more Mother's Day plug. It's Mother's Day. We're doing gift baskets.
Absolutely.
Let us know if your mom needs a last-minute gift basket or just a bottle of wine. I mean, you know what? You don't have to get her a gift basket if you don't want. Just get her something some wine to go with dinner or.
A darling
whatever
girl stopped by
sauce. Yeah.
yesterday and said my grandmother's name is Mimi, so she bought the Mimi Brut Rosé,
Which is
and
also
absolutely
great,
appropriate.
Great.
For sure.
So it's a bubbly as well. I'm going to hashtag Senorita Bubblita.
I think that should be your
It is.
hashtag.
Richard Lavacas.
Absolutely.
Richard Lavacas gave me that name, so nobody use it. I'm going to trademark it. But anyway, so I think we know what we're doing next week. You guys, thanks for tuning in this week.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
really appreciate it. And
Thank
I
you
think
so much
it was
for
really
following.
cool to see the Left Coast Cellars guys out. How beautiful was Oregon.
To see those mountains behind them, and
I'm
absolutely
a little jealous. We got a smoky yard out back because of the fires, and we're hoping that everybody stays safe because of that. I know
absolutely.
It's, kind of scary right now in so many ways, but in any event,
Definitely. We thank you so much for
Stay
tuning
safe,
in and being with
and
us.
we will see you next week. Okay.
I'm going to end broadcast now.